Well, very good evening to all of you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for the India Internet Mobile Association and NABARD for inviting me this evening. I'll probably take next 20 minutes or so to share some of my thoughts and what I think that digital technology and data can do for rural India. So certainly our belief is that what it can do is it can build a stronger, resilient, and more prosperous Bharat. I'll tell you more about why I feel so. And I also feel that this change is not going to be just incremental, but it's going to be very transformative. We've always seen this big divide between rural and urban. That's been a constant debate in this nation. People said, we need to do de-urbanization and make sure that the rural does not migrate to urban areas and so on and so forth. Momentarily think for a while to why were people migrating from rural India to urban India? Primarily the reason was that they did not have some of the facilities and opportunities. What was the facilities? They didn't have healthcare. They didn't have agricultural support. They didn't have enough job opportunities. So therefore, they started migrating. So I believe that in the new world of data and digital technologies, that's not true any longer. And as I said, we'll leapfrog ourselves from where we are today. And we certainly think that as a result of the digital technologies, these villages will become the new India's Grameen Bharat. And what I mean by that is that villages will become the hubs of knowledge, innovation, and also opportunity. Let's look at a little bit of statistics for a minute. 2/3 of India is rural. 2/3 of half of our workforce is in agriculture, and it's all in rural areas. But more interestingly, all of us talk about Viksit Bharat, India becoming a developed nation by 2047, 100 years of independence. It has to reach a number called $30 trillion by then. It also then means that the per capita GDP has to get to a number called $18,000. Where are we today? We are at about $2,800 is the per capita GDP. But more frightening story is that the $2,800, if you peel it off between urban and rural, urban is $4,000, rural is only $2,000. So unless, and we have to aim for a number called $18,000. So which means that we certainly require a very holistic development of this nation, and it cannot be very limited to urban India. So therefore, what we believe is that Viksit Bharat is not going to be possible without the upliftment of rural India. So what are the key things I believe are required for future-ready rural ecosystem? I call them as the 4 foundations for digital transformation. The first one is about digital connectivity. We need to have, I think it's happening to a great extent, but it requires to happen much more. We need to have broadband. We need to have 5G. We need to have affordable devices. We also need to have not only access, but also affordability to go along with it. The second one is that people are all talking about collecting so much of data. But people like me who are in data business, we all understand this data is useless unless there is standardization. There is interoperability between one database to the other. So those 2 key things are important for this digital transformation for future-ready rural ecosystem. A third one is we also need some of those digital public services, whether it is telemedicine, or e-learning, or digital payment systems. These services have also to reach our villages. And lastly, we also require a digital, and digital is now transforming itself into AI. I can't have a meeting, I can't have a presentation without using the word called AI, irrespective of where it is. So we require AI-ready workforce. When these four foundations come together, it will be transformative and it will be irreversible. Let me then move on and talk about what is digital technology acceleration, which is shaping the rural future. The digital technologies, if you look at them, are accelerating at a pace the humankind has never seen before. It's 50 plus years since I graduated. I never have seen, and I graduated in computers. Computers was an area that I specialized in 1974 from IIT Kanpur. Then we had a computer system which probably was housed in a hall of this size, catering to 2,500 students. And what do we have now? We all have a computer in your hand, your computer in your wallet, or computer in your bag. And the power of this computer is less than what it was in 1974 for that huge building that we had. So that gives you a reflection of how technologies are accelerating to become smaller, cheaper, faster. And they're also getting connected together much faster than ever before. We have about 7 billion people on the planet. 5 billion people are connected. When people get connected, we keep saying the power of a network is a square of the number of nodes, number of people on it. But trust me, it's not people any longer. It's devices which are also talking to each other. There are 15 billion devices and 5 billion people all in the same network talking to each other. You look at the information explosion that's happening at this point of time. And it'll continue. It's not 5G, it's not the stop. Yesterday I was at yet another event where we talked about 6G as the next technology. And that's going to be reality by 2030. And so is the case with these sensors, these ubiquitous small little things which are becoming cheaper, smaller, and they can sense everything and anything. God gave us these 5 senses. Ability to touch, ability to see, ability to smell, ability to taste, and ability to hear. Trust me, the computers are doing a better job than human beings, especially in vision. Vision, we have evidence today saying that they're 130% more efficient than human eye. That's how technology is progressing. So therefore, what will happen is, if you look at these 5 accelerators that I'm talking about, one is the ubiquitous connectivity, which we're talking about 20 billion things and people. The second one is, I didn't mention about the ability of satellites to see things now. They have data at a portion which has never been there in the past. We never imagined, even people like me who have been in technology. There's so much about satellite imagery that's there at such a granular level. And computing power has become so much that it doesn't require to be processed. You can use the data as it is. The raw data is possible. And the third one is, it's also now becoming AI on the edge. As I said, there's the sensors as well as the satellites. Satellites also have sensors on them, basically the cameras which pick up the data for us. But the amount of data is so huge, we don't know what to do with it. So therefore, what we need to do is to make sure only the data that's required is to be uploaded into the cloud. And that's how edge comes into play. Edge is basically a computer in the sensor. And we're making sure that the data gets even processed there. That's what is called the hyperloop. That's locally the data is available as crop advisors, as well as for many other applications like AI tutors, digital diagnostics. Public infrastructure, certainly we have seen the great things happening in this country. We are probably the role models for many more countries around the world in terms of Aadhaar and UPI. And there's no other country which has probably the same skills as what we have, or what technologies we have, what capabilities that we have. So therefore, an equivalent that I will articulate a little more is the other stacks that have to come by. These are customized databases for agri-tech, health tech, edu-tech. They're all each stacks by themselves. And finally, IoT devices have to become much more affordable. We are now I've seen in my life a sensor which used to sense motion, that's basically if the movement is happening, it used to be $30 a piece. It's now down to about 15 cents a piece. We think that's still expensive. We need to get it into much lower levels. So therefore, if these 5 things happen, if these 5 accelerators are continuing to be at the pace that they are, we think that the opportunities to transform the rural livelihoods, productivity, and resilience is humongous. Let me touch upon very briefly what I think technology can do in agriculture. It is from intuition to intelligence. What did the farmer do so far? It's largely because of his intuition, largely because of heuristics, largely because of his past experience. What is right now happening is we're building intelligence into them. So therefore, the digital tech and data potentially can become the backbone for agriculture, which to me, I keep calling it as future of India. So if there are instances, we know of examples at this point of time, where we've used technology in precision farming, where yield is increasing between 15 to 25%. The input costs are down between 20 to 30%. And more importantly, there's more efficient use of water as well as fertilizer. We are also in a position to predict climate change. I think we need to probably do it much more accurately than what it is. We need a lot more GPUs, as they're called. And now NVIDIA has some of them. Today's morning news says they have a lot more stock with them, but they're not still distributing it to people. So you require more amount of GPU power to ensure that it becomes much more precision prediction in terms of the weather forecasting. So we are in a position to therefore forecast rainfall, drought, detect pest, disease, outbreaks, and therefore the farmer now has ability to shift to resilient crops. We've also got examples where livestock is also being using technology. They use them to tag them, and then they track their fertility cycles, and they're improving the milk productivity. I found a very interesting example in the recent past. We're doing some work in a small village called PM Lanka in West Godavari district of Andhra Pradesh, where we are trying to use technology for agriculture. We're doing a skilling center out there, and we are doing a drone skilling center with AI. And what we found was, when we thought about agriculture, there were so many aqua farms in around PM Lanka, and we could now train them also to use drones in terms of predicting what's the type of water that's there, cleanliness of water, what's the pest which is there in the water, where's the yield going to be, which corner of the farm. So therefore, digital agriculture reduces the risk dramatically and increases the income for our farmer using technology. Let me move then on to healthcare. Another very interesting case we have is the core issue for rural health so far is one word. I call it as distance. It was the distance and distance and distance, which was the big gap between what we are in urban areas versus the rural areas. And it's frightening to look at the statistics. Roughly, in urban areas, there's one doctor for every 1,000 people. In rural areas, there's one doctor for every 10,000 people. So that distance has to be bridged, and that the way in which we can do it is through technology. I'm sure some of you are familiar. During COVID, telemedicine became very popular. But more importantly, what we now see, it's not just telemedicine, but even telesurgery is possible. If you look at 5G telecom networks, the latency, as we call it as, that's the time that's there from time that you probably start giving an instruction, by the time it gets executed, it's now less than 1 millisecond, which means as a doctor operates on a dummy body, which is called a digital twin, he moves the stylus, say, there's a bleed, I want to stop the bleed, I cartridge it. He says, cartridge, it's instantaneously happening on the patient, not next to him, thousands of miles apart. using a robotic arm. That's possible. So therefore, it's possible for us to take healthcare into villages. And we have smart PHCs. We did this already once in a small village called Mokshagundam in Prakasham district. The PHC has been converted completely to smart. You can think about any device. Pardon me, I'll be transparent about it. That's where my ancestors came from. So we adopted that village and we transformed it. Every device that you can think about, which has got digital technology, it's there in our PHC. So therefore, if you look at vitals, they're being monitored. It's not just healthcare. We moved into a mode called wellness of people. That is, you're becoming proactive as opposed to being reactive. You detect diseases far ahead of the time cycles. And as a result of that, you're not only the grief, but also the costs come down dramatically. So we are in a position to proactively create healthcare and deploy resources, prevent outbreaks. So therefore, to us, what is digital healthcare? It's creating more amount of resilience and equity between people. Let me move on to my other favorite topic for momentarily. And this is all about educational skills. That's another gap we had. But today, technology makes everybody learn from anywhere you are, anytime you want, from any position that you want to be. You're sitting in a bedroom, you're sleeping in a bedroom, sitting in a drawing room. It doesn't matter at all. You're still getting the same amount of content coming in digitally to you. So therefore, because of the online learning, we are seeing that access becomes equal between the digital and the rural areas. And the bigger thing that's happening, which I've been a part of an initiative called Future Skills Initiative. Way back in 2017, we did this for NASSCOM, trying to bring digital skills for our engineering graduates. It's now got down to 10th grade students. And what does it do? It's also got a piece of software, a piece of AI software, a piece of smart AI software, which does what is called as creates individual learning paths. You may be smarter than me. My learning capabilities are slower compared to you. You shouldn't suffer because of me, or I shouldn't suffer because of you. It can be individually, it is assessing your capabilities every day and is in a position to then give you the amount of content that you can digest as opposed to what your neighbor can digest. So therefore, these are tools not going to be limited to urban areas. They will get to rural areas too. And in terms of the future skills for rural youth, now we did one other initiative that I'm in the middle of right now. Don't ask me why, but it's a fact of life. Last Saturday, we inaugurated a skilling center for AI in handicrafts and handlooms in Nagaland, in Dimapur. We inaugurated this facility. It's all working well. And what is it? The 3 modules that we are trying to do. Create that awareness for AI. If you look at the handlooms of Nagaland or the Northeast, the type of patterns that they have to do and the color combinations that have come by, it takes enormous amount of time. They draw them once, color it next. They say, this is not good, you tear it off. Whereas now what you could do, not only that you can say select what you want, but the AI algorithms are giving you more amount of options that you can use. And second one is that we thought, technology, it's not just using the yarn, the way in which they use an amalgam. What they need to do is there's so much of automation that's coming, there are 16 needle sewing machines. And therefore, productivity can go up. And the third part of it is all about getting them market access. The ability to get internet into them, list their products, is certainly helping them in terms of selling the products much faster without the middleman at a higher price. Lastly, my fourth intervention I think is important is the MSMEs, the micro, small and medium enterprises. There are about 6.3 crores of them in this country. About 30% of GDP comes from them. And about 110 million jobs are from this sector. And as many as 60% of these are in rural areas. So therefore, they require interventions to become a lot more productive and a lot more profitable. So certainly they need market expansion, which is basically e-commerce. We do have the ONDC stack at this point of time, enabling nationwide global reach. We should reduce the payments, which is happening at this point of time, and then faster credit of GST as well as UPI data enabling collateral-free lending. And certainly, the last one, which is very dear to me, is all about quality. I think quality can dramatically improve once we have the Industry 4.2 applications, whether it is IoT, the centers, the sensors, the digital twins. As a result of it, we are in a position to do predictive maintenance. So you have downtime coming down, efficiency going up in every manufacturing facility. And that's where MSMEs also can play a role. So therefore, what do I finally tell you is that what do we need to do further is we need to create an India stack for rural transformation and growth. India stack is what we know of Aadhaar, UPI, and so on and so forth. But what I think we need is, and these have transformed India in terms of identity and payments. But by making sure that you have an agri stack, a health stack, an education stack, what we will be in a position to do is we help our farmers, we help our villages, we help them educate and provide opportunities to them. The stacks would contain all these data that I've enlisted for you. And finally, we need to have the standardization and interoperability I talked about earlier in order to ensure that these are certainly going to be a lot more productive than just having data for data's sake. So therefore, a unified digital backbone powering agriculture, healthcare, education, MSME will truly make Viksit Bharat possible. I'm almost there. The last bit of it is that what you require to do is we need to have broadband connectivity. We also require reliable electricity. We need to have affordable devices, and we also need to create village digital hubs, which we have done it in some of the villages as a part of our initiatives on social upliftment. Finally, I think the key to is we live in digital literacy. We've done a lot of work in the area of digital literacy, but I believe right now we are transforming them into AI literacy. In the last 3 months, we introduced AI in 50 schools in Vizag district for class 7, class 8, and class 9. 25,000 children impacted right now. It's a pilot that's going on. So that is something important if you truly want these citizens to use technology, because technology has very large ill-built AI into it. So therefore, if they become more familiar, they become literate, and they get trained, what happens then is that their confidence improves dramatically. Last but one is the rural skills and entrepreneurship. We talked about a few of them. We're doing, personally, my company does a fairly large amount of work as a part of our CSR. This is not our main line of business. Our main line of business is something different. But certainly we do a lot of work in drones and IoT technicians. This is PM Lanka back again. Agri-tech and health service providers in Mokshagundam, digital education all over the place. And we have a digital enablement of micro-entrepreneurs. We have a school of innovation entrepreneurship, which is built by my family foundation and the company foundation in IIT Hyderabad, which is trying to do this work on innovation and entrepreneurship. Finally, let me conclude. If we can bring technology, what is the outcome of it? Higher income, better health, stronger education. Certainly, we believe that we will become climate resilient. We will create new jobs. So to me, if we want to truly become Viksit Bharat, rural India, through technology, digital technology and data becomes key to it. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you.